This is 7 National News, and in our top story, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President, the Prime Minister and ruler of Dubai, honored the winners of the first edition of the Arab Reading Challenge during an award ceremony in Dubai Opera today. The first of its kind Arab Reading Challenge ceremony was also attended by His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Crown Prince of Dubai, and His Highness Sheikh Maktoum bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Deputy Ruler of Dubai. After a final test, the youngest of all the three finalists, Mohammed Abdullah Farah of Algeria, was declared the winner of the first prize, receiving a prize money worth $150,000 for his achievement, while Talah Al-Amal High School of Palestine received a sum of $1 million, winning award in the Best School category. The top three finalists out of a total of 18 shortlisted students appeared for the final test, wherein they were quizzed about the books they were reading during the campaign. While awarding all the winners of the Arab Reading Challenge on stage, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed addressed the gathering and stated that reading and knowledge is the fastest way of building a civilization, and an open, tolerant, and cultured generation will be capable of spreading hope and building the future. As figures issued by Arab Thought Foundation on Cultural Development revealed that the annual average reading rate for an Arab child is 6 minutes, compared to 12,000 minutes average for children in the West. The challenge, which required students to read and summarize in details at least 50 books, according to organizers, will inspire Arab children to cultivate reading habits. The total prize money of 11 million dirhams for all the different categories included the best school from all participating countries and the best supervisor from each UAE education zones, among other prizes.
كلهم فائزين. 3.5 ملايين هم فائزين. القصد من كله دائما طلابنا يشغلون بالكمبيوتر والايفون والاشياء هذه، ولكن القراءة حتى في القرآن أول كلمة هي تقرأ. فالقراءة تنور العقول ويصبحون يعني شباب فايزين، وهذا الفوز مش لهم هم بس، لعائلاتهم والبلدهم والأمتهم، لأن هذين هم اللي بيطلعون قيادة المستقبل. ونحن هذا نزيد القراءة عن الوطن العربي مثل ما كان قبل، وأنا متأكد وأتمنى أن يكون السنة الجاية نوصل إلى 7 ملايين.
We have a good background about all the students. The question that we asked them was very specific, and we counting, put in our mind the time they are replying and their answers, and how much do they feel confidence in themselves. So for me and my colleague in the panel and the judge, it was not difficult. The result was very great, in my opinion. Today it was a successful final between all of them. It's very important. I think next year we will find more competitors, and the result will be bigger and bigger.
Surely I'm very, very, very interested. I can't tell you how I feel. I'm thanking God for reaching this step, because without His helping, we can't reach this step. I also thank Samo Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, because he obliged us to enter this competition. And also I thank our president in Palestine.
At first, it's a great pleasure to take part in such an event. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum has achieved this great idea that has been at the early beginnings only a dream. But now we're living in it, and here we came to the final stage. So it's a real pleasure for all of us to stay in such an event. I love reading at literature. I love reading a lot of novels. I started reading at a very small age, so it's something that I was raised on. So it's not a real difficult to me. No, I love it and I love doing it. So any difficulty in this challenge wasn't a problem to me. No, it was something that pleases me a lot.
Under the patronage of the UAE Ministry of Economy and organized by NASBA, the 18th Global Women in Leadership Economic Forum kicked off in Dubai today, bringing together up to 500 global male and female business leaders, policymakers, as well as young female professionals and entrepreneurs. Participants were given a platform to discuss the challenge of diversity, share experiences, and produce strategies to strive for women's economic empowerment. According to the organizers, the two-day event aims to highlight inspiring stories of successful women and best practices from organizations that are leading the way in this domain. This year's conversation revolves around three pillars: storytelling, future building, and game changers. The agenda is designed to facilitate discussion, promote innovation, thinking, and have an impact on the global discourse around the role of women in the global economy.
The most important thing that can happen to really continue the progress that has taken place, which is impressive in this region, is the united support of men and women together on this issue. Women's leadership is not a women's issue. And that is something that people don't always realize. It is truly a societal issue. It's a business and government community issue. So I think when men and women together recognize that, we'll make even more progress.
The aim was initially to create a platform for business women leaders. Over the 18th edition, it has transformed and evolved, and it is all about championing diversity and parity and inclusion strategies in order to better society, in order to promote a more sustainable economy. So this is not just it's not a women's event as per se. It's an event that is trying to gather all the stakeholders around the concept of diversity as one of the key pillars for the economy of a modern and futuristic and tolerant and better society.
The forum also hosts the Will Achievement Awards presented by the Ministry of Economy to honor exemplary individuals and organizations. The format of the event includes interactive panel discussions, insightful keynotes, case studies, practical workshops, more than 16 hours of business-focused networking, as well as a brain dating lounge.
We are focusing in our workshop on talking about networking. So first of all, what drives success and why networking is important to your success. Because when you build an efficient network that can work for you, you give and you get, you are actually more successful in the workplace. And we know for a fact that in our world, men are not shy to speak about their achievements, men are not shy to ask for pay rises, men are not shy to network in a big group. You walk into a room and men are very easily able to network. And I think women sometimes need tools to feel more confident to go out and do that. So we're going to do a bit of role playing. We're going to do a little bit of talking and look at some of the great role models who've used networking to be really successful career women.
The point is that we are coming from the point that we are the leading company in pharmaceutical and diagnostics. So innovation for us is very important. And you can only have really innovation in an organization if you look at diversity as well as inclusion. And when I talk about diversity, I mean, it's a broader brand. It's age, it's background, it's cultures, but it's also gender diversity. Yeah? But I think the key point as well is you can have all of this. Yeah? You need to look at how do you make sure that the people are working together. And when I talk about inclusion, then if you have this as a mindset that you focus on this, then for sure you need to look at your woman. What does it mean? How do I make sure that I include them in the normal working process, whatever happens with them.
Research has showed us is that there used to be what was called second generation bias. The fact that you would not see women in leadership positions at a board level, at a C level, made women hesitant about even thinking about business ownership. And I think the fact that you do have examples of that today, particularly in the services industry, whether it's hospitality or IT, you do see a larger proportion of women taking leading roles, either running businesses or even as or starting businesses as entrepreneurs. So I think that is the major change, that the second generation bias no longer exists because you do have examples of women who've done it.
The global fight against polio is now in its last phase, and the UAE contributions have played a key role towards reaching the virus in its last remaining reservoirs, a top healthcare official has said. As the international community marks World Polio Day today, Dr. Michelle Tyron, World Health Organization representative to Pakistan, was quoted in local reports stating that WHO would not be where we are today without the UAE's efforts in Pakistan. This year alone, the UAE has allocated nearly $17 million, which equals 62.4 million dirhams, so far towards reaching 10.5 million children in Pakistan's high-risk districts, which are known to host the virus and record the highest number of new cases. Since 1988, the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, an international public-private partnership that includes the WHO, has been working to rid the world of polio. Polio is a crippling and potentially fatal infectious disease caused by the polio virus. The virus, which mainly affects children under 5 years of age, attacks the central nervous system and could cause temporary or permanent paralysis. 27 cases have still been reported this year, with 15 of them in Pakistan. The other two countries where polio is still endemic are Afghanistan and Nigeria. The UAE itself was declared polio-free in 1992. The UAE is to raise its clean energy target from 24% to 27% by 2021 as part of its commitment to global efforts to fight climate change. According to a local report, Dr. Thani Ahmed Al-Zayudi, Minister of Climate Change and Environment, said this target is the UAE's internal action plan to implement the Paris Climate Agreement, in which 197 nations committed to reduce carbon emissions to limit global temperature rise to below 2 Celsius. The UAE, which formally ratified the Paris Climate Agreement on September 21st, was the first in the region to set a clean energy target of 24% by 2021. Now the nation has raised that target to 27% to generate energy from sources like nuclear and solar energy, which will considerably help minimize carbon emissions. Al-Zayudi said since the COP22 at Marrakesh focuses on implementation of the Paris Accord, all stakeholders would have a role in it. Therefore, the private sector, academia, and youth will also represent the UAE delegation. The private sector has a major role to play in the fight against climate change, the minister said. Along with other developing nations, the UAE will advocate technology transfer, capacity building, and access to global funds for developing nations to implement the Paris deal. In an unprecedented show of political will, 177 countries signed the Paris Agreement in April 2016, which will come into force on November 4th this year. The latest UAE school safety survey suggests that bullying is the top school safety concern for UAE-based parents. Results of the survey, held every 2 years by Axis Communications, were recently announced, showing 52% of parents citing bullying as their biggest worry concerning children at school. The second biggest concern, 42%, was risks in the school playground, followed by student-perpetrated violence, 37%, and outside perpetrated violence, 37%, which refers to incidents outside the gated school campus. The survey ran for over 2 weeks before the summer and polled over 950 parents, over 85% of whom have children aged 3 to 15 in schools, and over half of whom have lived in the UAE for more than 8 years. However, the survey does suggest that despite the concerns, 92% of parents are satisfied with the current security measures in schools. Meanwhile, 3 in 4 of the respondents would like to see more investments in safety and security measures such as surveillance, access controls, advanced fire detection systems, and security guards. And finally this evening, as filmmaking gains popularity and local cinemas finds new audiences in the Arab world, world-renowned directors, celebrities, and young Arab filmmakers attending the opening of the 4th Sharjah International Children's Film Festival highlighted the role of art to help the needy around the world. While stating their goals, organizers highlighted that apart from enhancing children's access to good cinema, supporting young talents in filmmaking and building bridges for cultural exchange, one of their key focus areas is also to raise awareness among the young filmmakers to give due consideration to local culture. Among the celebrities attending the festival was a British singer and songwriter and the ambassador for World Food Program, Sami Youssef, who stressed that there are currently 795 million people around the world who face hunger issues, and as aspiring artists and filmmakers, young children should also stand to help the needy and give voice to the voiceless communities. As refugee crisis remains the key issue for artists in the Arab world, some of the filmmakers, artists, and celebrities stressed that guiding children through the right track is very important, and by paying more and more attention to minds of children and their ideas, the world can truly become a much better place. The festival, running until the 28th of October, will showcase the works of young filmmakers from 33 countries, and some of them include films made by refugee children from Syria and Lebanon. All films will be judged by a team of experts and expert filmmakers, including Hollywood actor and producer Will Smith and other local film personalities under different categories ranging from Best Child-Made Film to Best Feature Film. The screening will be held across various indoor and outdoor venues in Sharjah, including Al Majaz Waterfront and Al Kasbah.
I believe it's so important for us to have such a platform and such a festival here in the UAE, and specifically in Sharjah, an emirate that is very much interested in terms of child education and care. For us, the majority are youth, and it's so important for us to have such platform to inspire them and to have them also be part of creating their own content, and again at the same time to encourage content creators to work on specialized content that is relevant to our culture, our language, and that is not in any way inciting or any way that is not relevant to how we live here in the UAE and how we are a tolerant nation, and we would love to have our kids understand the importance of content and the content creators, how it's important also to create a content that is specifically smart and to the point to our kids.
I did a workshop with Syrian refugees in Lebanon in a school, because they go to this school at afternoons, and they made a movie that talk about their daily life. So for this year you will not see a movie about war, about bombing, about any sad stories. They just reflected their daily life, and this reflects how the children thinks. Sometimes they think of the moment, they think of how now we are living and what now we are facing from difficulties. So they talked about the stories about it's happening inside the school, in fact, and what's happening inside the school between them as students.
This is the first time I submit my film in Sharjah Film Festival. I really like the main concept. They only focus only on children. There is no another film festival in the world for only the children. So the whole world, they focus in this film festival in Sharjah. I really like it. Maybe I will shoot again with children only to submit my film here in film festival, Sharjah Film Festival. Now you will see many Emirati filmmakers. They want to do movies to be in film festival. they help us to do more and more in each years.